Speech off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a video on Banned Books Week, and this is Banned Books Week. I had originally done a video about the 100 most banned books in the past decade, but then I realized that I did not read the majority of these books. All I was doing was saying titles and authors and going, didn't read that, and that's very boring. So I decided to Google children's books that have been banned recently. And I found an article. It's called 30 Banned Books That Every Kid Needs to Read. And now, as I've said before, I do not agree with banning books, but, you are the parents, so you get to decide which books on this list your children read. That is the beauty of not banning books. You get to decide, and the next parent gets to decide, and the next parent gets to decide. So I'm just reading off this list, and you do with it what you will. But, you may agree that some of these books aren't good or whatever, and that's fine. But, yeah, like I said, the beauty of not banning books is that we, as a society, get to decide. So, let's do this. I found this on a website called Tiny Beans. I just Googled it and clicked on it, and it looked, this article just looked very fun, so I'm gonna read it. We're betting you've read a few of these, you rebel you. This was written by Allison Sutcliffe on September 10th, 2024. There are plenty of things your kids wish they could ban. Broccoli, for instance, or bedtimes. But we're guessing books wouldn't make their list. Promote the power of yes by pulling these banned children's books off the shelves and into your evening reading routine. You won't be disappointed, and neither will the kids. So, let's get started on this list. Hop on Pop is a children's banned book. When you read this book, title as a directive rather than an innocent and undeniably catchy rhyme, it's easy to see why a Toronto father's rights advocate challenged. What? Sorry, I'm reading this too fast. When you read this book title as a directive rather than as an innocent and undeniably catchy rhyme, it's easy to see why a Toronto father's rights advocate challenged the wildly popular Dr. Seuss book. But pulling it from library shelves because it, quote-unquote, encouraged children to use violence against their fathers was only the tip of the iceberg for his 2014 challenge. He also thought the library should fork over some cash to cover damages resulting from the book. Alrighty then. I never read this book, but okay. Next. Charlotte's Web has made the list of children's banned books at some point. If you haven't read the story about humble Radiant Wilbur, aka some pig, then you're in for a treat. Although a group of concerned parents disagreed in 2006, they tried to have this book banned from classrooms because they found the book's talking animals to be disrespectful to God. Okay, I do not remember God mentioned at all in this book, let alone to disrespect him, but, if you remember, you let me know, because I don't. I don't recognize this one. Stregonona was once a banned children's book. Apparently, let's be honest, this book is every parent's fantasy. After all, who doesn't want a song-activated magic pot that cooks some dinner? The late Tomie dePaola's, it's like my name, Tomie dePaola's classic Tale of the Grandma Witch has been banned in several U.S. school libraries for promoting witchcraft. Alrighty then. Where's Waldo? It seems a certain 1987 version of this book would have fared better in Europe than it did in the States, where it was banned in both Michigan and New York in the mid-1990s. Although the story behind finding the now infamous nude bather that caused the version to be pulled from the shelves has since been lost, we're guessing it had something to do with one reader's relentless search for Waldo. Alrighty then. I never read this, but okay. Next we have The Giver. when it comes to dystopian novels, tweens and teens just can't get enough of them. And Lois Lowry's Newbery Award-winning classic continues the trend. But parents in Blue Springs, Missouri grew concerned over twisted and lewd content in the book and tried to have it removed from an 8th grade reading list in 2003. The good news is the compelling story is continued on in 3 more books in the series. I don't remember anything lewd about that book, but alrighty then, you can correct me. Next is Harriet the Spy, one of my personal favorites, but I can see why parents have their reservations. That's me talking, not the article. Harriet the Spy. Readers the world over love Harriet the Spy because not only does she tell it like it is, she also rides a dumbwaiter, and who wouldn't want to try that? Over the years, the book has been banned in school libraries because parents are concerned that it teaches children to lie, spy, talk back, and curse. Well, they're not completely wrong there. I had a vendetta against bedtime, and I had a notebook just like Harriet, and I love to eavesdrop to this day, so was it a bad influence? Probably. Probably was. Will I ban it? No, I'll probably give it to my child. Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. Okay. Kids have loved the quirky drawings and odd poetry of Shel Silverstein for generations. But in 1986, the West Allis, Milwaukee School District banned this particular poetry collection because of drug references, suicide, death, and a disrespect for truth and authority. Shortly after, a school district in Pennsylvania did the same. Okay, I've read this book and I do not remember anything about drugs. Unless we're talking about smelling the fumes from Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. That's me talking again, not the article. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe has been on lists of children's banned books a few times. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Magical wardrobes, talking lions, and evil queens. Narnia's got dibs on some of the best fantasy elements ever written. But the first book in this popular series was first banned in 1990 because adults were concerned by its quote-unquote graphic, violent mysticism and gore. Then, in 2005, a group focused on the separation of church and state tried banning the book from Florida's public schools after then Governor Jeb Bush promoted it in a statewide reading contest. Okay, calm down, people. Cool your jets, okay? I mean, really? Next, I Am Jazz. This one is, the 10th most challenged and banned book of 2017. I Am Jazz is an autobiographical picture book chronicling the early years of transgender reality TV star Jazz Jennings. It first appeared on the banned list when a group of Wisconsin parents objected to its reading at school. They were concerned about sex education, language, and offensive viewpoints. I mean, people have had issues with transgender or the LGBTQ community in general. So, that's not a surprise. I've not read this picture book. I've not seen the TV show, but, she has a reality show, I Am Jazz. Or is that show still even on TLC? I don't know. But you do you, Jazz. Where the Wild Things Are. Okay. You've read this one to your sidekick so many times, you've got it memorized. But when this classic hit the screen in 1963, it caused quite a stir. Banned in many southern states for depicting child abuse, the no-go supper for Max. It's also been challenged for being too dark and showing supernatural elements. If you're looking for more books to put on your nighttime reading list, try one of these all-time faves. Okay. Hansel and Gretel. That's a new one. To me, anyway. The surprising dark tales spun by the Brothers Grimm have been challenged many times, but we bet the specifics behind this particular gruesome classic will surprise you. Was it because of images of cannibalism, or perhaps it promoted unhealthy eating habits or tooth decay? Nope. In 1982, two witches challenged this book, claiming it painted witches in a bad light. Excuse me? A Wrinkle in Time is the next one. I've read this one. Loved it. A Wrinkle in Time has made the banned children's book list many times. This Newbery Award winner has been challenged a few times for undermining religious beliefs, and in 1985 it was challenged at a Florida elementary school for promoting witchcraft, crystal balls, and demons. What are we talking about? Okay. And Tango Makes Three. Oh boy. Here we go. First came Roy, then came Silo, then came a baby and made their family complete. Based on the true story of two male penguins at New York's Central Park Zoo. This ALA notable children's book made its way onto the banned book list for featuring a same-sex relationship. They're penguins. Calm down. Brown Bear, what do you see? Oh, goody, I'm going to take a banned book to my story time next week at the Riverside Library. Excellent. And I've read this book. I do not understand why this is... Okay. All this says, more a case of mistaken identity than concern over content. Bill Martin's classic children's book was banned by the Texas State Board of Education in 2010. It turns out that the children's author didn't also pen ethical Marxism? What? The categorical imperative of liberation. Oops. Okay, so they thought he wrote this book, but he didn't? That's why it was banned? You weirdos. Drama. I've never heard of this one. If you think your house is filled with drama, you haven't been to middle school lately. Get a refresher with this tween graphic novel that follows theater geek Callie as she strives to build a Broadway-worthy set and figure out, well, boys. Oh, okay, that's why I haven't read it. It's a graphic novel. But the real drama for this book came when it hit the banned children's book list in one school district and two school libraries in Texas because it featured LGBTQ characters. God forbid. The Giving Tree. Seriously? If there's anything more Hallmark than The Giving Tree. That's me talking again, not the article. Back to the article. We dare not to shed a tear over this touching story of a selfless tree who loves a boy, but it was a cynical interpretation of the tree's selfless giving as sexist content that led the Shel Silverstein classic on a Colorado library's banned books list in 1988. All right, calm down. Harry Potter series. I mean, that's kind of a given, right? Witchcraft. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series has been translated into 68 different languages, distributed in over 200 different territories worldwide, and has sold over 450 million copies at last count. And the number of challenges and bans on the series, usually for depicting witchcraft and wizardry and promoting anti-family themes, is also impressive. By 2000, it had been challenged over 650 different times. Ooh, she should be proud, actually. I want my book challenged that much. That means people will read it. Let's see what's next. Advertisements. Bridge to Terabithia. Oh, boy. I kind of get it and kind of don't. I love this book, though. And it made me cry. Another Newbery Award winner, this story of friendship and loss is a definite tearjerker. But it wasn't the tragic death of a friend that led the New Brighton area school district in Pennsylvania to remove it from their 5th grade classrooms. They were concerned about the disrespect, foul language, and confusion that could be created when kids read about Terabithia, the fantasy world dreamed up by BFFs Jesse and Leslie. Okay. The Witches by Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl is no stranger to the banned book list. James and the Giant Peach is on there. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is there too. But it's his classic tale of a boy turned mouse and his cigar-smoking grandmother who fight against witches that continues to find its way onto the list again and again and again. It was challenged at least 10 times in the late 1980s and early 1990s for things like being too sophisticated and not teaching moral values. Okay. I mean, what values are we teaching? Not to smoke cigars, Granny? The Family Book. I've not heard of this one. The Family Book has made it on a banned children's book list. Families come in all shapes, sizes, and colors is the theme of this popular Todd Parr book. But concerns over depicting families that have two moms or two dads kept this bold and colorful paperback off the shelves in the Erie School District in Illinois in 2012. Okay. I mean, you do you, but those families exist, and they go to school with your kids. So, they have to be on the school shelves, okay? It is what it is. You're probably going to find a kid with two mommies or two daddies in your kid's classroom, whether you believe in the morality of it or not. So there you go. The Fighting Ground. I never heard of this one. One of Ovid's lesser-known works, it's the story of 13-year-old Jonathan who wants to fight beside his brother and cousin against the British during the Revolutionary War. This ALA notable book was banned at the Bay District School Library in 2008 over parents' concerns around the use of profanity. Captain Underpants. I never read these. Captain Underpants series. If your kid has read the book, watched the movie, and bought the t-shirt, then you're not alone. But you might be surprised to find that this popular Dave Pilkey series was at one time the most banned book in the country. In the early books, concerns were raised over content that wasn't suited for the age group and encouraging disobedience. The release of the 12th book caused new concerns over references to Harold being gay. All right. Next is the one that fills me with rage. Anne Frank. Anne Frank has made several banned children's book lists. Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. The powerful, poignant diary of Anne Frank, who spent 2 years hiding from the Nazis with her family in the cramped, secret annex of an office building, often shows up on the banned book list. Although concerns over sexually explicit material is the reason usually cited, once in the 1983, the Alabama State Textbook Committee tried to ban it because they thought the diary was a real downer. Oh, I'm sorry that this girl who's hiding from Nazis who are trying to kill her is a real downer for you. Excuse me. Let me try to spice it up a bit for you, okay? It's a downer. Gotcha. That's me talking again, not the article. Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. Never heard of this, but it sounds fun. This story of a donkey who wishes himself into a rock set off, is this supposed to say often? It says into a rock off alarm bells with the, what? This story of a donkey who wishes himself into a rock, set off alarm bells with the Illinois Police Association. In 1977, they challenged the book because the police are depicted as pigs in the story. In the aftermath, it was banned in many parts of the U.S. Yeah, okay. Weirdos. Junie B. Jones. If you cringe every time you read Junie B. Jones to your kids and she run speedy quick or did a shrug or commits some other crime against grammar, you're not alone. Most of the challenges to this series are about Junie's speech patterns and the fact it might encourage young readers to follow suit. I mean, now that I read those as an adult, I think Junie B. Jones is a brat. But I actually think the grammar is part of the charm, because that's how some little kids talk. Little kids do not speak properly. It is what it is. You're fine. But, the fact that she's a brat might be a reason that I wouldn't give it to my kids. As much as I like them as a kid. Anyway, Jacob's New Dress. I don't know what this is. Jacob's New Dress has made a list of banned children's books. This book has been banned by a North Carolina school district claiming that the book taught children to be transgender. Jacob's new dress is actually about acceptance and anti-bullying when Jacob wants to wear a dress to school. Who is Moss? M-A-U-S. This book. Moss has been banned in a Tennessee county for profanity, nudity, violence, and suicide, although it presents the argument of how to honestly portray the Holocaust without those things. Mouse. Oh! It's a graphic novel. I've heard of this. I'm sorry. Mouse is a Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel that follows Spiegelman's parents' traumatic internment at Auschwitz. Again, we are not here to make the Holocaust comfortable for you. Sorry. New Kid. I don't know this one. New Kid was written by author Jerry Craft about his own life experiences, and a Texas school district banned it for critical race theory and Marxism. When Jordan Banks starts at a new private school, he was one of the only students of color, and he discovers this new struggle of fitting in when there is very little diversity. This banned children's book is the winner of the Newbery Medal, the Coretta Scott King Author Award, and the Kirkus Prize for young readers literature. Again, that's crazy. This is someone's story. Why are we banning people's autobiographies? Next is a book called Sold. This one has been banned in 2022, 2023. The story of 13-year-old Lakshmi, a new Nepalese girl who was sold into sexual slavery, is a powerful but not easy read. Banned in multiple states for depictions of violent sexual content, this book is not for the faint of heart. Still, it's an important topic about a very real subject that affects humans all over the world. The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963. I've read this one. The Watsons Go to Birmingham by Christopher Paul Curtis, iconic historical fiction book, tells this tragic true story of the 1963 church bombing in Birmingham. Through the eyes of 10-year-old Kenny on a trip to see his grandmother. Although it is a Newbery and Coretta Scott King Medal winner, it was banned in Utah and challenged in other states for what was deemed offensive language. Get over it. And that is the list of the books on this list. So yeah. What do you guys think? I'm kind of shell-shocked a little. So, yeah, you guys can sound off in the comments and let me know how you feel about these books. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.
Speech on. Stop recording.